Hi. Okay, so I woke up this morning and saw the news. At first I thought it was about Joe Perry. And cuz I've been following the news ever since he collapsed. It was about Stanley. I'm so devastated. I'm so heartbroken. I'm still not accepting it. I'm like, "No." Um so Stanley has died. I told my mother, and she thought I was lying. We almost fought. She's like, "No, stop lying in my house." Oh, she's like, "He's supposed to live forever." I was like, "Yeah, I thought so too." Oh, my heavens. But here's a thing that I thought about with Stanley. It's sad now because you're just finding out, everyone's just finding out. And we're showing tribute to him and everything else, posting, social media is plagued with all sorts of saying Excelsior and everything, which, by the way, Excelsior apparently is Latin. Oh, jeez. It's not going to show me now. It's Latin, but it's not. We looked it up. Okay, so apparently it means higher or upward. So, like, moving higher or upward. So, but like I was saying, it seems sad now, but he's one of those that his legacy's gonna live forever. So basically, much like I've said with like Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross and even Walt Disney and Jim Henson, they live forever. So technically, Stanley will live forever. um See, cuz yeah, everyone knows Bob Ross. I mean, right now they're making board games for him and everything. Jim Henson is still around. His son has done an okay job. There's been a couple of movies. That last movie that I saw, I wasn't too thrilled about, but and then the Disney Corporation still going. And anyway, and then of course Mr. Rogers. And so with Stanley, I can't see that disappearing. I can't see what he's done disappearing, and I can't see anyone forgetting him. But the one thing that I remember most about him, last year he became a Disney legend. And I feel like for him, that was like the biggest accomplishment for him in the sense that, he was in Big Hero 6. And he talked about how much Walt Disney influenced him and his career. And, some people latched onto that and understood what he meant and everything, but other people it was kind of like, oh, okay, no big deal, whatever. But then when he became a Disney legend, or, got with Mark Hamill and Oprah, and he talked about how he was a little boy and bought that book with what little money he had, and that basically started his drawing career. And the book was How to Draw Like Walt Disney or something to that effect. And I mean, he was such a fanboy for Walt Disney. He loved the guy. And so, and I feel like people just weren't quite latching onto that, weren't quite fitting those pieces together. I mean, the biggest fan of Walt Disney was Stan Lee. Oh, man. And that makes me love Big Hero 6 all the time. I mean, I loved Big Hero 6. That's one of my favorites. For once, it wasn't a dark movie. I love Baymax. I think Baymax is just adorable. I came home from college and I saw that movie. And because my dad was like, I think you'll like this movie. So I was like, okay, whatever. And and so I'm watching it, and oh, and at first, when, at the beginning where it starts out sad, I'm like, this is like Oliver and Company, where it's sad at the beginning. Why are you doing this? But then, when it was all the superheroes and everything, and then to see that the one kid's dad is Stan Lee, I'm like, oh, yay! He's like, I knew you'd like it. You're such a nerd. I'm like, yes, yes, I am. Why is it the good movies are overlooked? See, like Sword in the Stone, Merlin. How can you not? Oh, and Archimedes. Anyway, I like Archimedes. He's such a cranky old bird. uh, but yeah, I've seen quite a few people posting their pictures together with Stanley, which I like seeing, and like Elvira, Mark Hamill, even the Unipiper, and those. But some people are just posting like the weirdest shit. Like, excuse me for using foul language, but because it doesn't really need to be for something like this, but when there were people that were saying stuff like, well, now who's gonna do the cameos in the Marvel movies? That's where your mind goes. Really? Oh my gosh. I mean, it's fun to see him in, where he's gonna pop up. and everything. But why is that important? Well, now what about the cameos? And that's not a thing now. They just won't do Marvel movies anymore. No, but for me, I think the greatest thing for Stanley was the fact that he turned into a Disney legend because of the fact that he was such a huge Disney fan. In my opinion, his his career started on Disney, and nobody really, I mean, it just seemed like he made that speech talking about buying the book that was about drawing like Walt Disney, and people were like, "Yeah, that's great," and everything, and they clapped, and it was just like, but I don't know. I really do. I think, and he was also in um a Disney movie, not just the Marvel side to it, because Marvel is Disney now, but he was in an actual Disney movie. And that made him just super happy. I mean, it seemed like he was just bursting at the seams because he was so happy. So, but yeah, and um, just like Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross and Jim Henson, Stanley, Walt Disney. He's not going to be forgotten. There's just no way. Right now it's a sad day. And like I said, my mom was about to rip my face off when I told her she thought I was lying. She's like, he's gonna live forever. Well, technically, the others have to. I never realized just how much he influenced my life. Just like the others. The others were more like educational, like Jim Henson was in Behind Sesame Street. I remember when he was still part of Sesame Street. And of course Bob Ross with his painting and everything. I went back and watched his painting. And Walt Disney, there was quite a few of his movies. He did Donald Duck in Math Magic Land. Yeah, he had a few of his movies that were instructional, and there were quite a few of them that were part of culture that were going on during the time. And so it wasn't just the what we call princess movies now, or the ones behind novels and that sort of thing. No, it wasn't just that. And Mr. Rogers, he was all about manners and that sort of thing, and you know, teaching good things and that sort of thing. His was he was a teacher, a good teacher. But when you think about it, Stanley with his characters taught things. When you go back and look at the comics, don't be arrogant like Tony Stark. But that's what superheroes do. I mean, everyone needs a superhero. So, anyway, yeah, it is a sad day right now. And, but like I said, technically he is going to live for, in my world, he's going to live forever, just like the others I've mentioned. Technically, he's not gone.